Hello and welcome to Better Together Tuesdays. I'm your host, Joel Barrett. I'm a business development consultant at the Missouri SBDC at UMKC. And together we're going to make business simple even in complex times like these right now. This webinar series is in response to the many questions that we receive on a daily basis from small business owners in Kansas City and the region beyond. Some of those questions are evergreen and we get them year-round. Others have come in response to COVID-19 and all of the complications that has brought along with, just all the complications that has brought, let's just say that. Why are we doing this? Because we read a quote from Shelley Seifert, the chairman and CEO of First Bank in St. Louis at the beginning of this pandemic, and she said, surviving and thriving in a crisis is rarely a solo event. And here in Kansas City, we really believe that. And we have a lot of great organizations and resources available to entrepreneurs and small business owners. And we can do this thing together. So today, we're going to divide this into three unequal segments. The first part is focus, where we talk about what's going on right now. And then we'll talk about what we can be doing differently in our Innovate segment. And then we'll finish up with the engagement segment, where we talk about how to learn more and where to go to find those. So today we're talking about getting your legal ducks in a row for a small business. It can feel overwhelming when you start talking about legal structures, tax structures, local, state, federal requirements, patents, copyrights, and the list just kind of goes on and on and on. And I know that during COVID-19, a lot of businesses found out by surprise where their weak spots were. And I had a number of businesses that realized they weren't as official as they thought they were. And so we want to help you unpack that, take the fear out of it, and give you some resources, action steps to ensure that your business is sitting pretty. And I'm pleased to have two really awesome guests today. My first is Nia Richardson, and she's with KC BizCare. Nia, don't forget to unmute yourself, but thank you so much for being here. Tell me briefly about yourself and KC BizCare.
Good evening, Nia Richardson, KC BizCare. I'm with the City of Kansas City. My office rests under the Office of the City Manager. My official title is the Assistant to the Director for Small Business and Entrepreneurship. I run the KC BizCare office, and we provide technical assistance for business registration, permitting, and licensing. So when folks are trying to figure out how to really, once they figured out how they want to structure their business, then they can come to us for that assistance to help them navigate the city and maybe even some other government agencies to get what they need to get their business structured.
Well, and I want to thank you for your work. I refer a lot of people to you. I'm always telling people, you need to know about KC BizCare.
Yeah, and we are still helping hundreds of people right now with businesses. Even through COVID-19, we were still seeing a surge of businesses getting started. So
that's awesome. Isn't that great to see that in the middle of this, people, same thing here. We're, especially now that kind of we're past that, I think we all were reeling for a little bit, and now we're going, oh, I guess this is how it is.
This is it.
And, yeah, it's refreshing to see people coming back around and saying, okay, well then let me start a business.
Yes.
Another guest today is Danny Merrick, or Danielle. It's okay to call you Danny instead of Danielle. Yeah. I only know you as Danny, so.
Yeah.
Danny, tell me a little bit about who you are and your organization.
So I'm Danny Merrick. I'm a clinical professor at UMKC School of Law. I wear a couple of hats. I run the UMKC Entrepreneurial Legal Services and Intellectual Property Clinic through the School of Law, which is a law school clinic that allows students to have the opportunity to work with real-world cases. How that helps you is that if you are a business entrepreneur and you need assistance with things like contracts or operating agreements or setting up your business structure or tax planning or copyrights or trademarks, you can get free services through our clinic, and students will help work on those projects, meet with you, and all of that's under the supervision of me. I'm a licensed attorney in both Missouri and Kansas, so we serve clients from both the Missouri side and the Kansas side. My other hat that I'll mention just briefly is I'm also the executive director of the Kansas City Volunteer Lawyers and Accountants for the Arts, which provides many of the same types of services where we provide pro bono legal and accounting services, but it's limited only to low-income artists and arts organizations.
That's awesome. I feel like I knew that, but it was a good reminder for me to hear that all over again, because we do get a lot of artist entrepreneurs coming through the center as well. So we're going to dive right into both of you. I'll just address questions to each of you. Nia, since you brought it up, talking about people coming right now and even thinking about starting a business, what, if anything, has changed in regards to starting a business because of COVID-19? And that might be a really big question. I don't know.
It's a really short one for us. It's the only thing that's changed. Our office is closed. We will not be able to assist you face to face, but we can still assist people if they have access to the internet and can get online. Even if they came into our office, we would still have to. We had computers available for the public to be able to create a one-stop shop for them to sit down and be able to walk through the process of getting what they need. We would print up the documents for them, things like that. So we don't get that courtesy anymore because of the virus and the rules that have been set. But other than that, the biggest thing that's changed is that there's a push now to put everybody online and to do your online applications. So at minimum, for what we do and the fact that we share space with business licensing, just think about us as the person that helps you get all your prerequisites before you can actually get your business license. So we can assist you on the phone, but business license, we're now trying to push more people to do it online, because that way, once you do it online, you can pay your taxes, you can renew, you can do a lot of things that you would otherwise have to stop your day and try to come into the office and do. So that's the biggest thing that's kind of happened, I would say, but everything else is still the same. There's still the same needs for our businesses. A lot of what UMKC provides is a lot of what these businesses need when it comes to back office support, especially on the legal side.
Do you feel like that for the business owner navigating any of this is like, have zoning or ordinances changed as a result of COVID-19, or is that all still kind of in flux right now?
The process is still the same. It's just how you go about it is now going to be online. The fastest way you can get a zoning will probably be through us, but you can otherwise apply online to get a zoning clearance. But of course, it goes through a system. It has to be processed. Sure. Someone has to pick it up. And so you'll see a lot more shift to online applications. To my surprise, I realized that the city didn't have a lot of the applications online. Like if you go to health department, there are maybe 2 out of maybe like 20 applications that I would normally refer a business to, especially if they're in the restaurant industry or food related, that you can download online, but you can't go online and fill it out. Yeah. And so one of the things we're trying to do in hopes we can use the CARES Act money for is to put a lot of those applications to make them available online, but at minimum, make them available for your mobile phone. So if we can anyway find a way to get these applications, these simple applications, so that someone can actually fill it out from their phone, that's what we want to do, so we don't create a bigger bridge in this digital divide that we're kind of dealing with too.
That would be outstanding for sure. Danny, from your perspective, legalities, is anything more complicated now because of COVID-19?
We're really seeing that's more complicated, other than people needing questions related to PPP loans or things like that, is that we're really challenging people to really be familiar with what their insurance policies that they're getting say, whether or not there's business disruption insurance policies, like what that actually entails. We're asking people to be really cognizant of what their leases say, and then also cognizant of, if you are opening a space where people are going to come in, what your potential liability will be if you have people coming into those spaces, sure. Not from just a slip and fall standpoint, from now also a pandemic standpoint.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like I was at the Apple store this week and had to have a little brief interview, a temperature check, all of this stuff before I could even go in the store. And it's interesting how fast we've adjusted to that. Like, okay, yeah, that's just how it is now. Nia, what do you think is one of the most common mistakes that you see small business owners making when they're getting started?
Not seeking out programs or legal advice. A lot of people come in very confused about, 1, where they even start, and 2, how to even structure their business. And so a lot of times it's going to take us as the technical assistance providers to really get people to talk that out and understand what they're trying to do, so they can get the real advice or the most current advice on how they can structure it. And so totally would refer people to the program that UMKC has. We're hoping that we can connect with other attorneys that would volunteer their time to provide some consultation, but we're hoping to also take it a step further, just like UMKC does, and provide these services, or get some professionals to provide the services for back office support. so people can get those things now and right away.
So much is, you can go online, to the Secretary of State's website and do so much of it yourself.
Yes.
But at the same time, there's that fine line of when it's okay to do it yourself and when you might want to seek legal assistance.
I would always recommend you seek legal assistance. We appreciate when people come to us and we can help them get things going. So typically people who are doing LLCs are who we normally see, sole proprietors, because they're usually coming in to get EINs or things like that. So we just kind of guide them through that process. But not having your business properly structured in the beginning has such a ripple effect on what you do later on. And if we're trying to help some of these businesses understand opportunities like procurement with the city and buying and contracting or other major things like that, that comes into a lot of play, especially now, like with COVID-19, like how you have your business structure makes a big difference in what type of resources you can access.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've experienced that a lot with people trying to get assistance during this time, and they've made a lot of important discoveries. Danny, did you just disappear? I think she might have just disappeared. She'll be back. So Mia, we'll continue with you. So let's say I'm a small business owner and I'm like, I've been doing business. People have been paying me some money to do some stuff, but I've really not done anything official. Is that a problem?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is a problem. You definitely need to get yourself set up. No, I won't come hunt you down and see if you have your business structure, but we would totally recommend it. Think about times like right now when there are crises and you need assistance. You will not be able to access that because you do not have your business properly structured, which means you're not recognized as a business, you're not paying taxes, you're not contributing to the economics or things that we need to support more small businesses at the city too. Because we take off that tax revenue for our budget to be able to do these different types of things, to be able to have this office. So think about the ripple effect of that. But yes, please, absolutely get your business structured. But I trust there are a lot of people who are still out there just side hustling.
what I want, I think what you and I want them to know is that they can be there, but they don't need to stay there.
Right.
Move on, and you'll feel good. Feel so much better when you know you've got all of your legal ducks in a row and you're not just like out there hoping you don't get caught, so to speak,
Yeah, don't sell yourself short of not really understanding or having the opportunities to be an entrepreneur in the sense of having your business legally structured and going through the processes and paying your taxes and things like that. Like don't sell yourself short on that. That is an absolute necessary especially if you want to grow your business.
Right. Danny, welcome back.
We missed you.
I wanted to ask you about legal structures and when to seek legal help and when to do it yourself. Nia, weighed in on that. What are your thoughts?
So something that most people aren't aware of is that both Missouri and Kansas's limited liability company law requires that you have an operating agreement to be a validly existing limited liability company. And so KC BizCare can't do that for you. You can get those services sometimes online in various capacities. I can tell you that the stuff that you get online is not as good as if you had an attorney draft it for you, and sometimes it doesn't protect you all that well. So unless you are just being a straight sole proprietor that has nothing but a fictitious name registration, I would suggest getting legal services. Just because to make sure that you have compliance with all of the LLC requirements if you formed an LLC, and also to just make sure that you've got, the correct contracts that you need. Like if you're hiring people for independent contractors, you need written contracts, or if you have customers, you might need written contracts for customer agreements, things like that.
So that brings up a good question. A lot of people go, well, I went on LegalZoom, or I Googled and found, this template online.
Yeah.
How trustworthy, I don't want to bash any companies, but like, what are the dangers of just relying upon the internet for those resources?
So I'll tell you what I tell my clients, which is that if you're the only owner of the business and you had LegalZoom or you found some form online that was an operating agreement, I don't love those forms. They're not perfect, but I can sleep at night knowing that you're probably mostly protected with those. If there is more than one owner in the business, None of the forms that I have ever seen come from LegalZoom, Rocket Lawyer, any of those things or anything online have done anything to adequately protect the owners of the company when there is more than one owner.
And what about, you have a partner, not business partner, but a spouse, or, and they're not owner of the company, but they are connected to you.
Well, so that actually for Missouri and Kansas both consider businesses part of marital property for divorce purposes. So I also tell my clients, if your marriage is on the rocks, you might wait to form your business because it's going to be 50% of your ex-spouses no matter what. So, even if your spouse isn't listed, even if your spouse isn't affiliated with the business in any capacity, if you were to divorce, they would be entitled to 50% of the value of the business at the time of divorce. And if you were to die without a will, it will go through probate court, and probate court will split the business among whoever your heirs are. And if you're legally married, your primary heir is your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Nia, I know you speak for the city of Kansas City, so to speak, but what about registering my business? Is there something I need to do in order to start doing business in Kansas City?
Yeah, so if you're a business and you are doing business in Kansas City where you have a physical location, or whether your physical location is somewhere else, Grandview, Wyandotte County, as long as you're doing business in Kansas City, you need a business license from the city of Kansas City. Now, other jurisdictions or agencies, have their different requirements as well. So we definitely make sure that people check from where they are, because we're really supposed to only be helping Kansas City, Missouri-based businesses because we're under the city. But from what the business license ladies tell me, everybody needs a business license. So I'm gonna go off of what they say. If you're doing business, you need a business license. I know there are some businesses that are not required. I don't have that listing with me. I just found that out as well through our business licensing staff, but most businesses will need a business license. And on average, I think business licensing sees about 24 to 25,000 renewals or new business registrations a year, just in Kansas City.
And are you able to help people navigate zoning and ordinances that they may not be aware of?
So our office can do a zoning clearance, which is required for all businesses when you're getting a business license, except for when your business is safe. For example, it's like in Grandview. I can't do a zoning because my maps won't show what the requirements are, what is zoned as at the moment. So all that's required. We will always tell you, hey, before you sign a lease, check the zoning, make sure you can do exactly what you want to do there and it's zoned for it. And a lot of times people get into these leases, they get locked in. I know Danny can tell you much more about that. I'm sure she has wonderful, funny stories about it because people didn't listen. But we always, just try to give that tip of checking the lease. But of course, always consult an attorney or an accountant, period.
You mentioned an EIN earlier. Can you unpack that for our viewers?
So like the EIN, the basic way I like to try to explain that so people can remember, it's like a social security number for your business, right? And people seem to kind of grasp onto that. Yes, some people will use their social security number or EIN number, which is also free to get online through the IRS site. Again, we tell you where to go. It's a simple process. You make a copy of that document at the end, please. If they have PDFs at the end of any registration process, save them because we can't find them. If the state has it, we can't see it.
Yeah.
If the IRS has it, I can't see it because I'm the city and I can't access it. I can't go find out what your number is. And it's a headache trying to figure that out. So please keep up with that like you're keeping up with your social security number. It is your life. It is your lifeline.
That's good. That's good. Danny, we have, because of where we're located, we get a lot of people who are doing business on both sides of the border. Are there things that they need to be thinking about?
So Kansas business licenses are the same or similar in Kansas as they are for Missouri, in that they are at the city or municipality level. And so we generally tell them whatever city they're operating, they need to contact their city branch and find out if they need a business license in that area. Kansas tends to have a little bit more homes associations than Missouri does. And so we also caution people, especially if they're operating a business out of their home, that they make sure that they can do that with their homes association restrictions. In addition, we also always ask them if they are leasing versus owning their home, because they may have restrictions in their home lease that says they can't run a business out of their home. And then finally, we always tell everyone to, if you're running a business, especially out of your house, to notify your homeowner's insurance that you're running a business out of your house, because if you don't, and there's like a fire or something, they can use that as a reason to not pay out on the entire policy.
That's great. Good advice. I share a lot of that advice when I teach our pre-classes, and it's nice to have a lawyer back up what I've been saying. All right, let's move into the innovate, but what can we be doing differently now and in the future, because this time is running out real fast here. So let's start here, Nia. A small business owner may be thinking, well, wow, I haven't done any of this stuff, but I have been making some money, and now I feel overwhelmed by all that I'm hearing. Where do I begin?
You can start by emailing the KC BizCare office. Like I said, our office is close to the public, but we will definitely respond to your email. And that is, I'll put it in the chat. And that is the KC BizCare at kcmo.org. If you want to make an appointment with business licensing as well, you can go to this site here that Joel has up, and you can make your appointment. There's also a bunch of resources toward the bottom for during this time, during COVID-19, to assist businesses. We try to keep it updated, especially with financial assistance, especially as more CARES Act money may be coming through the door. So as soon as we get information from our EDC, we try to get that up there so businesses know where they can go. We try to also get the reopening rules on this page as well. And in the future, we'll probably have another survey go out to our businesses so we can really assess the needs as well. But if you are looking to get your business started right now, you've done all these different things, email us. Let us help you be the first. Let us be the first start for you. We'll help direct you to the different places. We'll always be referring over to UMKC and their program, and in any other resources we have available for you.
Great, great. And like I said at the beginning, I refer a lot of people to you because I know how valuable your services are. Danny, I did everything myself, and now I'm beginning to wonder, should I have a lawyer look it over now? I think she froze up on us. But she'll be back.
If I could speak for Danny, she'll probably say yes. Just to be sure, just to be sure.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that Danny would say yes on that. That was a leading question.
Yeah, I mean, I was just in a conversation earlier and was reminded about the number of divorces that happen in business partners. So, you know, the same could apply on the business partner side as well as the spouse side. Be very, very cautious and make sure you just do everything in the beginning to make sure you have the proper structure for what you may be doing, and just be prepared for things that may come up later.
So true. I've got Danny's side up there. She'll be back. We'll circle back around to her. But we kind of touched on this at the beginning. There she is. She's back. Danny, what did I ask you? I did everything myself. Should I have a lawyer look it over now? Nia answered for you, but we kind of know the answer to that.
Yes, yes. And I promise you that there's nothing that you would bring us that you did yourself that is more ridiculous than anything we've ever seen previously. Like, I feel like I've done this for almost 16 years at this point, and I feel like I have literally seen every possible thing that could be crazy. So there's nothing that you're going to have done where I'm going to be like, what the hell were you doing? I'm going to be like, oh yeah, people do this all the time. It's fine. Here's how we fix it. Yeah. So it's usually pretty easy for us to fix. It sometimes takes some doing to untangle a little bit of a mess, but it's not that big of a deal. And I'll put the contact information for me in the chat as well.
Yeah, I want to point out that they're having a little website problems on the Entrepreneur Legal Clinic. So I've got her set up there, but check the chat window out for some specifics from both of my guests today. Let's see, Nia, we kind of talked about this at the very beginning, but COVID-19, before COVID-19, I'm speaking as an entrepreneur. Before COVID-19, I was thinking about starting a business, and now I'm afraid that it's a bad time because of all of that. Is it a bad time?
No, it's not a bad time to start a business. There's going to be a heck of a lot more resources out just because we're trying to help those who are already existing. So that's going to be a benefit for those who are trying to get into small business. So now would be a great time to join and start one. And especially if you have something that's innovative for what's happening right now.
Mhm.
Absolutely. We need you.
We have a lot of new problems that need solving right now.
Yes.
And that's what a business is. It's getting people to pay you to solve their problems. So that's what I'm encouraging people to do, is look at the new problems that are here. Danny, what can I do differently now to prepare for a future crisis? If you could summarize that.
I would say read. Like, don't sign anything before you read it. Don't jump ahead too fast. I mean, lawyers, we're inherently risk averse. I was risk averse before I went to law school, and then law school just teaches you to be more risk averse. So people think of us as dream killers sometimes because we're like, wait, think, stop. But it's really important to read and understand what you're committing yourself to, because as we're seeing, things are changing daily, like things that they are giving some sort of they're giving some kind of grace for, they're removing it within, a few weeks or a few months later, and then that grace no longer exists. So read and know what you're committing yourself to. Understand what your requirements are in terms of how you keep your employees safe, yourself safe, your owners safe, your customers safe. And, that's probably the best that you can do.
I think Nia and I probably feel this way, is that we meet a lot of entrepreneurs who are very excited about what they want to do. And so they want to go the shortest route from A to Z. But Danny, you get to meet them when they're at Z and going, oh, what did I do wrong?
Yeah.
So it takes far more time, energy, effort to undo than the cost of taking a little more time in the beginning to just do it right.
Right.
And that would be my encouragement to you. I want to share with our viewers, I'm going to share my screen to show a couple of other resources. I want to thank my guests today. I'll remind you that the UMKC, the Missouri Small Business Development Center here at UMKC, is available to you. We have some classes coming up at the end of this month, New Venture, Elevation Lab New Ventures. So if you're thinking about starting a business, that's a 5 Tuesdays in a row class that would be great for you. Don't forget about our partners at KC SourceLink. Kansas City is one of the best places in the nation to be starting a business, because we have literally hundreds of resources and organizations available to entrepreneurs and small business owners. KC SourceLink exists to get you connected to the right resources. So I encourage you to get to know KC SourceLink if you don't already. And then I want to remind you that KC BizCare and Nia's team are available to you. And if you don't remember this particular site, just Google KC BizCare. You'll get to it eventually. And there's great resources. One thing we have not emphasized, neither one of my guests have emphasized it too much, is that these resources are free.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty amazing. I mean, the help that you've been hearing about today, the fact that you can contact one of these organizations and get free assistance. You can get free one-on-one coaching available at the SBDC anytime. So there's really no excuse for going down, doing things on your own and doing them the hard way when you can get assistance from people. I also, I think I've shared all the sites there. I just want to thank Danny and thank you, Nia, for your expertise, the work that you put in for this community, because we wouldn't be able to do what we do without you and your organizations. So thank you. And thank you for being a guest today on Better Together Tuesdays.
Thank you. Great to meet you, Danny.
I hear all about you because people come all the time and say, KC BizCare said to come here. And I'm like, oh, okay.
This is my first time
Thank
meeting
you for bringing us together, Joel.
Yes, that's great. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day.
You too.
Right, bye.
You guys.
Bye.